Here are my LED turn signals that have been upgraded a while back. They're still working, as you can see, but as for the backup lights, not so much so. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Lights and Buttons. A while ago, I made a video about this 2013 Acura TL and how I've replaced the factory backup lights going from an incandescent bulb to an LED bulb. Now I was trying to accomplish three different things with that setup. A, I wanted a bulb that had a longer lifespan compared to the incandescent bulb. B, I wanted a bulb that has a brighter light output compared to the factory bulbs. And then C, I also wanted a bulb that had a better color, a more whitish color compared to that yellowish incandescent look. Now I felt like I accomplished most of that except for one thing, the lifespan. These bulbs that I currently have installed were from a company called Oxido, and I got them from Amazon. It was relatively cheap, it had good ratings, and I decided to give it a try. Fast forward about 4 years and 9 months later, one of the light bulbs started to flicker just a little bit, and then the flickering got worse, and eventually both sides were flickering, and now it's gotten to a point where the brightness has significantly diminished, and also it's very hard to back up at night. So what I'm going to do is replace these bulbs, and if you haven't seen the step-by-step instructions and you're wondering how to take the housing out from the rest of the car, I did include that in my last video, so I'll link that in the description below. But one of my friends introduced me to a brand called Diode Dynamics. I never tried them. He really liked them, so he gave me the recommendation. So this is the XPR bulbs. These are the 921 XPR bulbs, and they're quite a bit more expensive than the ones you get from Amazon, but I'm hoping they're more well-made and it can withstand heat a little bit better, because if you're parking this car out in the middle of summer in direct sunlight, you have an LED bulb that's in an enclosed housing, and it's probably going to be cooking for a little while. In my mind, LED bulbs should last for about 10 years, but given the heat factor, that can probably affect things significantly. So with these, hopefully they're sturdier and more well-made and can last a little bit longer, but you also have the higher price tag to deal with. Now, this video is not sponsored. I did pay this with my own money. Timing-wise, things worked out because at the time my friend introduced me to Diode Dynamics bulbs, on their site they had a sale, so I was able to grab these for a little bit less than the retail price, which is nice. But I'm going to give these a test. And without further ado, let's jump into taking out the housing, replacing the bulb, and running some tests. Something a little bit different from my last video. I got this new tool that helps me remove clips. This comes in very handy and makes things much more efficient. Here is the factory bulb. I'll be installing this on the left side of the car. I want to show you this angle and give you a close-up of the fitment. So if I take this bulb back out from the housing, this bulb sits in the socket pretty nicely, no issues there. And then also when we put the bulb back into the housing, there's no clearance issues or anything like that. A little bit of a clockwise turn, and now it sits nicely and it's ready to go. Let's do a dry run before we screw everything back. So, gonna let this rest right here. And we got the settings locked in for the camera. It is underexposed, and that's because these lights are pretty bright, and I want to show you the actual differences without it blowing out in the highlights. The camera settings are 1/40th of a second shutter speed at f5.6 with ISO 100, and the white balance is locked in at 4000K. I'm gonna go ahead, go in the car, put the car into the on position but not run, and here you go. So as you can see, the Diode Dynamics is much brighter, but we have a test coming up at night that will show you how bright these are. I want to be able to measure the light output of this bulb and then compare it to the LED bulb, but I don't have a good way of doing that. So the quick and dirty method I'm coming up with is to use the Photo Pro app here on my phone, putting it into manual mode, and then utilizing the histogram to have a comparison shot that's consistent between this bulb and the LED bulb. And the way I'm going to do this is hold the phone up to the light and then adjust the shutter speed until the graph kind of centers out. Actually, I think 1/640th of a second looks good, so we'll keep that. And then here on the right side, we have the icy white XPR bulb. Let's check out the exposure. 1/640th of a second is overexposed, so let's bring this down. Not quite 1/8000th, maybe 1/5000th of a second. After measuring the light output of the XPR bulbs compared to the factory bulb, I can say that at least in the initial measurement, the light output of this is about 7.8 times more than the factory bulb. So that's incredibly bright, but Diode Dynamics does say that the light output will dim over time, going from an initial output of 1600 lumens down to a stable 720 lumens light output. This has been running for about 10 minutes now. I'm about to shut this off before it drains my battery too much, but the light output is still pretty decent. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the XPR bulbs that are installed here, as you can see from the test. Next up is the long-term testing, which I'm looking forward to, and that involves me driving the car like normal, taking the bulbs through the different seasons and putting it through the extreme cold, extreme hot temperatures, as well as the various vibrations, from the car being driven. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll see you next time.